What up, guys? Jason Guyman here with PressureWashHelp.com, King of Pressure Washing. And today I have somebody on, Mr. Terry. He contacted me a couple of weeks ago and did some AdWords, and I did some AdWords for him. And he did my in-person training. He kind of been around pressure washing for a while. But he definitely wanted to come to the training so that way he could learn some tips and tricks, and I know he did. I know one of the biggest things that I hope that we get to bring out is that he learned about why he should do packages, so we can get that higher
hmm
ticket. And so let me see what I got going on here on the other side. But Terry, tell me a little bit about yourself and your family and that kind of thing.
well, I'm Terry Haynes, owner of Haynes Unlimited Power Washing. Been in business for, well, since 2012, 2013, if that's what you want to call it back then. But it really got going, I would say, about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm over in Prince George's County, Maryland.
Which is pretty much
Married,
DC, right?
pretty much about 10, 15 minutes from DC. Um, I don't go to DC too much, but we're right outside of it.
Gotcha. So, what do you have a family and kids?
Yep, wife. Been married 9 years. 2 kids. My son is 7. My daughter is 6.
Awesome, awesome. So you said you've been kind of the weekend warrior. Is that not correct for the last 4 or 5 years?
Yes, yes, yes. Had a full time. Well, yeah, I had a full time. I was just doing this part time weekends and maybe a couple days during the week when I got off.
Awesome. And so what is your full-time job, or what was your full-time job?
Correctional officer. I had a lot of different roles there, but yeah, basically correctional officer.
So you like to knock some noggins a little bit, maybe?
Uh, when
Or you're not
necessary.
allowed to do that anymore? Is that too sensitive anymore?
Yeah, not no more. You gotta be careful now. You basically gotta wait for them to knock you upside the head before you do something.
And that's not good at the end of the day, is it?
Right, 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 right.
So, what made you want to start pressure washing for?
Well, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to, I didn't want a boss. So I was working at a pool company before I started working at the jail, and I saw them, power washing some pools. So that's how I got started. I said, man, I can, knock on some doors and maybe get some people to allow me to power wash their pools, and that turned into houses, driveways, decks, commercial, all of the above. So that's how I kind of got into it.
Now, was you pressure washing like soft washing pressure washing, or was you the old style of pressure washing of straight up
I was
pressure?
when I first started, I was straight up pressure. I had no idea what a soft wash system was or any type of solution you use. It was straight pressure.
Did you have the nice big long noodle too, so you could
Yeah,
get up 2 stories?
yeah, yeah.
Them are always fun. At least you got a good workout at the end of the day, right?
Man, sore. Yeah, you got a good workout every time.
so, so you was a correction officer before you started pressure washing. What was some reasons why you wanted to just make extra money for the weekend, or to have extra money, or what was the kind of the reason behind starting it, or just to see if you could get to the next level?
Well, honestly, I started power washing and in jail right around the same time. So I started power washing maybe a couple months before the jail. So I didn't know I was going to be getting into that type of career. So I was just looking for something to make some extra money. And then when I got to the jail, I had the power washing, at least getting started. Um, so I just kind of stuck with it over the years, and here I am now.
So, what did you end up doing last year in 2020 as a part-time pressure washer?
Somewhere between 35 and 40 grand.
So you did 40,000 part time. That's pretty good. And what's your goal for 2021?
100 grand.
So you want to do $100,000 by the end of this year, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, um, when we do this, I believe we're gonna get there. So how much have you already did in March? Because you said you had a pretty good March, and it's the most you ever made in March. Is that correct?
Yeah. So this March I did about 8 grand.
So
And
8 grand.
this
If we
April.
can get us up to
hmm
about double that a month, which I'm assuming we
hmm
probably can do that if we can start working it right, then we'll get to over a
hmm
hundred thousand dollars. Is that not correct?
Yes,
So
sir.
what's your
That's the
goal for
plan.
April?
Well, it was 10 grand, uh, but the way it started, I think I should bump that up a little bit.
Awesome, awesome. So have you ever done 10 grand in a month?
Never, never.
So that will
And
be a
that's and
great.
that's the jail and power washing together. I never done 10 grand, so I'm excited this month.
So working at the jail and pressure washing, you've never made 10 grand. That is amazing right there.
hmm
So what what has been the best way that you've gotten customers so far that you've been able to get business so far this long?
What I've noticed this year, and I really kind of started promoting more and adding pictures and things like that, was Google. Um, Over the previous years, I really didn't pay too much attention to it. I would do little stuff, check it out. But this year, being more active with it, getting reviews, adding pictures, doing little posts, videos, things like that, I can tell the difference. I wake up in the morning, I post, and that day I'll have a lot of calls. So that's probably been my most productive way of advertising.
So you have so since you've kind of taken the break from the jail, have you gotten into a routine where you post so much per week and stuff and that kind of thing?
I try to post every day. I've been pretty consistent with that since I left the jail on March 6th. So I get up early, I post, I do my little daily routine, and that's what I've been doing. It seems like it's been paying off.
And a lot of times people don't realize that when we're doing this every day, it's building blocks. It's that's what's going to get us to the next level. Is it going to happen
hmm
right now today? No, it's not. It's just not. There's nothing out there really that we
Right.
can, unless you got a good string of luck and you have a lot of people in your network that just love you to death and would just jump on your
Yeah.
bandwagon. But if you don't have that, then that's the things that you got to do to try to build those blocks day in and day out. And what happens
Yep.
is is we got to be careful so that way when we start getting busy, we quit doing those things, and then we slow down and we get into that rut of we get busy, we slow down, and then we do it again. And so that's why it's good to get into those routines, like you were saying in the morning. Just get into that routine. You're doing that on Google, you can do it on Facebook, you can do it on LinkedIn, and
hmm
you can do all three of those pretty within probably 20 minutes a morning. And that
Yep.
will help us
Yep.
build block on block. And that is what grows a
hmm
business. That is how we will get you to $100,000, because then once we get that phone ringing, and the more that phone rings, the better off we are, and the better off that we can get to the next level. And so I know when I was
Yeah.
talking to you when we did the AdWords, you didn't have many pictures on there, and I think you upped your pictures on the Google My Business side of things, which will help you, and that is what grows our business.
Yeah. Like I said, I can see the difference. I'll try to do. Maybe I'll post the pictures from the jobs I had the day before. The next morning, knock it out, and like I said, I see the difference already. So I'm excited.
Gotcha, gotcha. So you've been in business for a while. Um, And this is some things that I have, but self-limiting beliefs. Do you have any self-limiting beliefs? Like, did you come from like rich parents or anything like that, that you just had plenty of money and never had to worry about it? Or do you have self-limiting beliefs of those negative thoughts in your head of, well, you can't do it because whatever you put in why, um, or how have you overcome those self doubt, stuff like that at the end of the day?
Well, first, no, my parents did. My parents are okay, but we didn't grow up with a whole bunch of money. Um, as far as the limiting beliefs, I go through those doubts just like everyone else. But I know for me, my morning routine and listening to positive things, and me and you talked about reading books and staying on top of that stuff really helps me get through the day to day, I guess, stress, if that's what you want to call it, of being an entrepreneur and taking care of business. So those things, man, watching videos, starting the day all positive, really helped me, get to the next level and get to where I am now.
And that's an awesome thing of, because I usually do that too, of listening to positive. There's all different kinds of positive. Steve Harvey is one that I always love to listen to because he's always funny, and
One of my
he's
favorites.
always about positivity. And he was another, he's another person that, he'll make you laugh the whole time, but he's got a point that he's driving home that, it's think positive, stay positive, be positive, and it
Yep,
will get you a long way at the end of the day.
yep, absolutely.
So, when you started your business and this year, what are some goals that you put? Obviously, you put $100,000 as your goal, but what are some other goals that you have that you want to shoot for this year?
Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the video. I wanted to get a higher price ticket. I felt like I was a little lower than I probably should have been previous years. So taking your class and kind of doing some things on my own really showed me that I can kind of get that ticket up a little bit. Um, so one of those, that's one thing. Another thing is learning new things like roof cleaning. That's something I'm getting into this year, and I'm excited about as well.
So let's go down the road of Jason's class. Is it worth it, or is he just full of crap?
Oh, absolutely, he's worth it. I went into it, of course, with the open mind and trying to see where my business was compared to some other people. Um, so I learned a lot. Even being in the industry for 5 6 years, I've learned a lot. Definitely on the advertising side, that was more what I was going into it for. But even everything else, I still learned things along the way as far as equipment and how to do things. So it's 100% worth it.
So, did it help you in processes of getting faster, stuff like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
And then what are some of the things in the marketing that you didn't know that is one of those things that was will help you grow your business?
Well, I didn't know much about LinkedIn. That's something I've been building up and working on. I created an account probably a month ago. Um, and then I just been posting daily on there, been getting a lot of contacts and trying to get myself out there a little more. This year, I'm trying to get into commercial, so there's a lot of people on there. Like I said, I had no idea about LinkedIn, so being able to get those contacts and kind of build my name in a different way is exciting.
And that was one thing that this class that we were at with Jonathan at the place we had this last class was, it was with Red Door Pressure Washing, which is I think he did around 650, 750 last year, and it was kind of neat
Hmm.
because even his marketing girl came in and gave some information of what they're going to do, and which is good information, and she was talking about the networking side of things. And I think networking is huge, whether it is on LinkedIn, that's one source, or, the Chamber of Commerce. any BNI, anything along those lines, any of that stuff can help you grow your business. And so that is something that I think is huge. So that way you can grow your business through referrals and not just networking. She was talking about how they're doing their referral program and how to get business more this way. And we're talking a company, we're not
Yeah.
talking of a company of 50, 60,000. We're talking $700,000. And so when you
Mm-hmm.
get to be around those people and you get to learn from those people too, it makes it all real at the end of the day. Everything that I had given, she kind of knew something a little bit about everything, but that's the reason why I kind of break it down into the marketing side of things it's just like I have a Zoom call for all my members tonight. Well, I broke down what is SEO. I broke it down. I
Mm-hmm.
showed people everything of from, how SEO works, what is SEO, and that kind of thing. Because I want to make sure that my people are people that don't get screwed. There is a lot of snake oil out there. I know Al was kind of teasing me in the beginning of this about talking about the snake oil, but he's made over probably $150,000 from Jason Snake Oil. And so
Mm.
when you listen to me, you can make money. And it's not that I'm arrogant or that I'm, any better than anybody else. I'm just telling you from my experience, and that is what grows
Yeah.
a business. You know, how much? I think you told me before, but what was your average ticket price before you kind of started listening to coming to me on that side of things, or what was your average
It
ticket
was
last
about
year?
last year was about 250.
So 250. So my
Mm-hmm.
goal for your average ticket this year will be up to about $500, $600, right? Because if we can get our
Yeah.
average ticket up, guess what that else does to us? That gets our price up for everything else. And here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're in an area that's got more money to know what to do with than a lot of your area that or service area that you got. So a $250
Yeah.
ticket, you were not good at all at that point. And here's the thing,
Yep.
you can go out there and push it and get way higher tickets at the end of the day. So if we can get your tickets up to $500 a day and you do 3 of those a day, that's $1,500. Let's just say you do 2 of them a day. That's $1,000 a
Mm-hmm.
day. We do that 20
Yep.
days a week or 20 days a month. That's twenty
20 grand.
thousand dollars. I don't know what you're going to do with $20,000 because you're going to be tickled to death at $10,000. So what are you going to do with twenty
Absolutely. Yep.
thousand dollars, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And am I really crazy talking when you can do $500 average ticket and do 2 of those a day?
No, it's very possible. I mean, I'm seeing it come to light already just from taking your class a couple weeks ago and kind of applying it now. I mean, the benefits are 100% there.
And that's why I push that of, you know, and honestly, you can do 3 jobs a day at $1,500 versus
Mm-hmm.
$1,000.
Easy.
So then again, we're getting that average ticket up. And honestly, right now, a $500 ticket can be a low ticket right now. I'm seeing a lot of people starting to hit that $600, $700, $800 tickets, average ticket. And you might think that I'm
Yeah.
crazy, especially when I'm starting out. And when you're coming from a 250 and you've been doing it for so long, you just got to find the
Mm-hmm.
right customers. If you're
Yep.
looking at the wrong customers, then that's the wrong price. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you got to. What I find out most from people that start raising their prices and getting that, they're like, I get in so much work, I don't know what to do with it. And so that
Mm-hmm.
is the goal, is because when we can get booked out a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks out, guess what that allows us to do then? Raise those prices up some more. And so the more
Yep.
we get the prices up, the better off we are in the end of the day. And, a lot of how we got to get our prices up is probably something that everybody struggles with. How confident are you in selling a $600 job, Terry, versus that $200 job that you've been selling for the last 5 years?
Well, of course, the comfort is to drop the price to 2 something or 3 something. But you know, like you said, I'm trying to get to the next level. So this year, I've been pushing for at least 500. You know, if the job is right, and it's honestly been working out. I mean, of course, you have your customers that say, "Oh, that's too much," but I learned to say no. Okay, good luck finding somebody else.
You're not my customer, right? We were looking for the people that are
That's
our
it.
customer. You know,
Yep.
and know your average ticket's not going to be as high, but or not. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
your average close rate isn't going to be as high. But who cares? I
Hmm.
would much rather do a lot more for $500 job versus a $200 job, right?
It's funny, Jason, because the one thing you said, I think it was before I even took your class, and I was like, man, that really sparked the light bulb. Was you said, would you rather have 5 $200 jobs or 2 $500 jobs? They both make the same amount, but one is only taking maybe one day's worth of time, and the other's taking 3 days, and you're making the same amount. Excuse my language. I said, damn, he right.
Yeah.
So
So
that's one thing that kind of stood out.
it goes back to what I've done there. Of if you get 100 customers and you have a 75% close rate at $300 average ticket, that is $22,500. That's a 75% close rate. Or if you do 50 jobs and just raise it $150 a job, only $150, now you make 22,500. Again, the same amount
Yep.
of money, you did 25 less jobs. Now let's go big
Yep.
scale. You do 750 jobs, you made $225,000. Or you could do 500 jobs and make $225,000. And that's only making our average ticket go up $150. And we make the exact
Mm.
same amount and we do 250 jobs less. So, why
Yep.
do I preach getting our average ticket up? Because I know, because at the end of the day, this is what a lot of people struggle with in the pressure washing world, owning your own business world, that kind of thing is when I show up to a job, a lot of times I don't know business. I don't know my numbers. I don't know those things. And that is the world's worst thing for a business owner at the end of the day. That is a failed mindset mentality coming. When we have that, I don't know my numbers. I don't know how much it costs for me to show up. I don't know how valuable I am. That is failed
Yep.
mentality. That will that will sink you faster than anything. And here's the other thing, and as you get better at this, Terry, this will come a lot easier. You got to get out of that mindset of what you've been selling for so long, because
Yeah.
you've been comfortable selling this. And what I'm going to do, I'm going
Hmm.
to push you out there. I'm going to push you, and I'm going to keep pushing you because I want to push you to get to that
Yeah.
next level. But what you realize is you start getting comfortable in selling that, and when you start getting comfortable selling that price, it just becomes easy. It's just easy at that point. It gets easier and
Hmm.
easier. But is
Hmm.
it easy at first? Hell no, it's not easy. It's one of, you'd
Right.
rather probably, you get the butterflies in your stomach, you start to feel like you're going to throw up, and you don't want to, because you just don't feel comfortable, right? You're
Yeah.
just like, I would never pay that. I hear that so
Exactly.
often. You are not your customer. Would you pay to
Hmm.
somebody $500 to spray water on your house? No,
No.
you wouldn't spray that. So Robert just put, I just booked a $775 job that is a repeat customer from last year that was $225. I upsold her a ton
Yep.
of services. She realized that I was the easy choice because of the service. And that is what we
Hmm.
want to do. We take a $225 and we turn that into 775 bucks. That is what we do. That is how we get to the $10,000 month right here, the $10,000 month. And if we want to
There
get to
you
the
go.
$1 million year, that's part of getting to the $1 million year. But we have to
Yeah.
do that through getting our prices up, knowing our numbers so that we can do that, and being comfortable in selling. A lot of times people get scared to death because they think they're my own customer. You know, we grew up poor. We live in Kentucky, and I grew up poor. I mean, I didn't grow up really poor, but we grew up poor, and so I never knew what money was. We never had money. My parents rented till I was almost 30, or until almost 20. We was in a
Mm-hmm.
rented house. We lived in my grandparents' camp for a couple of years that we didn't pay nothing, and so we was poor. I had poor mentality, and so
Yeah.
to get out of that poor mentality, you got to get out of that. And so some things that I'm going to challenge you, and I'm going to challenge everybody else out there is get around people that are successful. And you might think they're snobs, and you might think whatever you want to think because that's what you've been told. But find out ways to get around successful people. Find those people and let them become your mentor, even if they're not even in pressure washing. I don't care. When you get around successful people, success rubs off. That's just they could tell you one little thing, and that will help you a lot at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
when you're around a lot of poor people, there ain't no success rubbing off on you, because
Mm-hmm.
that's not what's out there. So get around successful people, find a group of 2 or 3 people that you can go mentor, go find a way to do that so that way you can help grow your business, get to the next level.
Absolutely, I agree.
Um, I'm reading some questions here. So,
Mm-hmm.
what? So, moving forward, how are we going to get our prices up, Terry?
Packages. That's something I've implemented over the last couple of weeks, and it's helped me a lot.
So, what are some packages
Just
that you're trying to sell right now?
well, my basic package is just a house wash. That's no gutters, that's no deck, that's no driveway, that's no sidewalk, nothing like that. It's just straight house wash, siding, and that's it. So the next package is usually, you throw the gutters in, or if they want to add something else based on the size, I'll, add a little more to it. And then my last package is the full package. That's everything: house, gutters, deck if they have one, driveway, sidewalks, things like that.
Yep, good job. So that
Hmm.
is, and make sure that we are bidding those every time, even if they're not asking for it. I kind
Hmm.
of pushed this a little bit earlier of, that's one thing of, bidding over the phone is nice, and it's nice to try to get that price out there. But that's one reason why either bidding in person or bidding, sending a bid over email or text, whatever. So that way we can show the 3 packages. We can show,
Yeah.
hey, this is package A, this is package B, this is package C. Even if they just called and said, hey, I want a house wash, we still gonna give them all 3 packages because our goal
Hmm.
is to get that average ticket up as high as we can. And if they just call for a house wash, and we'd be like, our house wash is 370, our house wash is 350, and but we do have some other packages. They're going to be like, I don't want that. I just want that. But where we allow them to sit there on it, and then we call them back the next day and say, hey, when would you like to get this clean? Da 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 da. If you have any questions about it, that kind of thing, then we're following up with them. And that is the beauty of doing that, so we can raise our prices, get our prices up, get it to the next level. So then that way we can grow our business. I it's one of those things that I really tried to do is to get people to raise their prices. This is probably one of the hardest things for people to understand. And I understand I got a lot of new people on here, but I got a lot of people that are making money too. This guy right
Yeah.
here, he might look like a jackleg on here, but he did over 100 grand last year as a old
Wow.
retired PE teacher. You know,
Nice.
I don't know if you know it, but I think all teachers that can't do much is our PE teachers. Because what else do? You go out and play a little ball and you have fun, right? And that's all you got to do as PE teacher. So he was a retired PE teacher, and last year he did over 100 grand. Now, do you think that's
Nice.
pretty good? And here's
Absolutely.
the thing: he gets about 80,000 on retirement. So he's making more. He's making more as a pressure washer than he ever did as a teacher. And so they have
Because
33 years. But you can go
wow.
out there, and here's the thing: you got to go push. You got to do your signs. You got to do your networking. You got to do your Google.
Hmm.
You got to do all those things, or at least some of those things, to make that happen. You don't have to necessarily do them all, but you
Yeah.
got to find one or two that you're good at. He's good at networking, and that's how he
Hmm.
grew his business.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just started last year during COVID. We learned that if you provide a great service, you should be paid for it. This year, our average ticket is 578, and we're all set to blow our goals out of the water. And that's an important part too. And that's why I started out of, what are your goals? If your goal is 100,000 this year, and you doesn't know that probably April you're going to blow that out of the water, and you had a goal of 10,000, that's good because that helps make our 100,000 at the end of the year.
Hmm.
So, are you going to do Christmas lights or anything like that for the wintertime, or?
Jason, yeah. I mean, I didn't know much about it, honestly, till about maybe 2 or 3 months ago. I think I was watching your videos and I heard you mention it. And I'm like, is that a code for something else? I didn't even know that was a real thing. But once I came to your class, I kind of, me and you talked about it a little bit. So I plan on signing up for the class. I think you said September or October or something
Right.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
We need help with follow up and how to do it. After an estimate is provided, how do you follow up? We have 17,000 pending. Well, that's a great question. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is if you don't have a software to do it, probably good to get one because here's the thing. Responsibid's $200 a month, but if Responsibid can close half of that $17,000, I think that's pretty much worth Responsibid of 2,500 bucks for the year, and that's if you only closed half of that money. So with that
Hmm.
said, I'm gonna first thing I want you to do is the next day is call them and make sure they got the bid. Make sure they don't have no questions and that kind of thing. I send 2 to 3 emails that next day or that next week, and then I'm gonna send emails at that 14-day mark, at that 21-day mark, that 30-day mark, 60-day mark, 90-day mark. Then they're going to get switched back to just whoever's emails. And then the other thing we can do with that too is some of your CRMs can do it is is text. It's going to send text out. DJ, he signed up with Responsibid and he sends it in as an email and a text to make sure they get that quote. And so that's some ways that we can follow up. Mr. I can't remember his name. Tanner, which was in our class, need to go back and see those estimates in person. Show them you really want it. I sold $5,000 slate roof washes and had the customer say if I can't do it again next year, like it was pocket change. That made me raise my prices. People have money, just a matter of selling the job.
You're right about that.
You know. So, I'm just reading through some questions. I got a bunch of them here. I kind of take
Yeah.
pride in being the highest guy in the area, but this was used to be the lowest guy in the area. He used to do decks
Yeah.
for like $2 a square foot. And when I started teaching him how to bid last year, because he was one that I had he had a pressure washer and he had kind of all the rig, but he had all the parts, but he needed to put together. So he came down and gave me. I did it way too cheap. I think I only did it for like 500 bucks, and I put his whole rig together, and that rig
Mm.
made over $100,000. So
Nice.
that's some things that we can do, and is to by raising his prices. And when he came down here last year, he was balking me on the prices. He didn't want to raise his prices. He didn't. It was hard because he didn't think nobody was going to do it. And so I love the saying that he always says is, now I'm going to be so high they're going to laugh me off the property. You know what? That's fine. You're not my customer at that point.
Oh, yep, that's it.
Um, so what are I'm gonna get back to Terry here. Um, so what are some things that I can help you with to get to the next level? Or what
One thing I
questions
really,
or what questions do you have for me?
um, I would say the main thing now is commercial. That's my next step. Um, another thing that I'm getting into is roof cleaning, but commercial is one thing that I'm not 100% comfortable with yet. I don't really know how to, I guess, get those jobs or bid those jobs. I've done a few. Couple people reached out to me this year. I haven't heard anything back yet. I think I got three that reached out to me. I haven't heard anything. I sent them the estimate. So I guess that would be my main thing that I'm really learning right now.
All right. So I guess the first thing is on the three that you have. There again, we
hmm
need to follow up on them. Have you done our follow up on it? Have you touched them? Have you contacted them? Have you done that kind of thing to be able to see where they're sitting at in the bidding process?
No, one was about a month ago. I think I emailed him. Emailed him the quote that day. I think I reached out to him the next day just to make sure he got it, and I didn't. I haven't reached out to him since. Um, I actually just had somebody stop me this weekend. I was in a neighborhood. He pulled up to me and said he's a property manager at a church. So he said, got my contact information. I actually the church was right up the street. I followed him to the church, and I sent him an email that evening. I haven't heard from him, but I'm thinking I'm gonna, follow up with him tomorrow morning.
So definitely follow up with people. That's one thing with commercial is following up. Don't be too pesty. Obviously, a lot of people are busy, so this is something that they want done. But yeah, and then on the other side of thing is making it easy, making it so that they can buy. They don't have to use a lot of mental space to get stuff done. So when we're bidding commercials, some things that a lot of people are afraid to ask, but ask what their budget is. We can ask what their but if they don't tell me what their budget is, that's fine. But if somebody tells me their budget is $3,000 or they got to get three quotes, well, if I can get the $3,000, I'm going to get the 3,000. I mean, we'll be at like $2,900, so you don't have to get three other quotes. Those are things
Yeah,
that we can ask from that customer. It don't hurt our feelings. I mean, most of the times they will tell you. Now, some won't tell you because they want to see where you're going to be at. But, just try to
right.
make it so that way, hey, if we kind of know where your budget is, then we can go from there. Now, if you're way low, then we can say, if that's your budget, then this probably ain't going to be getting done by me, but I will give you a quote at that point. So that is some
Yeah.
things that we will look at. How to get commercial. There's three ways to get commercial. One is you get a good website or you got AdWords coming to your website and people call you that way. That's not usually the way it comes, but that's one way we can get commercial work. Number two is that I would probably say the number one way to get commercial work is through networking groups. Um, Networking groups, as in, like the apartment association. If you have a local apartment
hmm
association, join it, get that email list, and then email. Sometimes they have events. You're up there in place that probably won't ever open back up. So, for in person stuff. So, you're going to have to do a lot of emailing and stuff like that. And that way you can do that. But like our local apartment association, they have this thing called, it's like a reverse dating thing. So all the major guys from each individual or apartment building owners will sit around in a set of tables all the way around the room, and then you get like 3 minutes to go talk to each one of those. And so that's a great way. And then the other thing you do is you take all of their business cards and then you put them in LinkedIn, and you get in LinkedIn, and then you start following up through LinkedIn. So now we got their business
Yeah.
email, we got them through LinkedIn, and now we can follow them in different ways and try to grow it. The third way to get commercial work is through LinkedIn. Well, is you can go do some door knocking on it too. Hey, I see your building's dirty. Here's my card. Let me know if I can give you a bid. You can sometimes go ahead and give a bid if you kind of can figure out how much time is it gonna take you to do that building, and give a bid
Hmm.
of an unsolicited bid. That works. I know people that give unsolicited bids and make quite a bit of money. And then the third way that I got a lot of business, and I know a lot of other people, is through LinkedIn. Following, you can look up property managers, you can look up facility managers, you can look up all of that kind of stuff. So on LinkedIn, start following them. Now we're not sitting there and saying, hey, we're pressure washing. Now we might do some before and afters stuff that we can do for
Right.
them. We are liking their stuff, we are commenting on their stuff. If they post something cool, hey, da 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 da. We're building that relationship. It's all about relationship building, whether we're doing it in person or we're doing it online. I can do in person relationship with somebody on LinkedIn. Like I say, Benjamin did over like $200,000 last year just from one contact off of LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is
Wow.
definitely something that can do it. Even like yourself, you got contacts at the jail, possibly. You got contacts at different places that you could do some
Hmm.
federal buildings, stuff like that, that may need cleaned and stuff. You may know people at other facilities, stuff like that, and know some of the ins and outs where, especially if you know some of the people that are in charge of facilities, not necessarily the big rigs, but who's in charge of facilities, and finding out where that is and that kind of thing. So those are some things of how to get commercial is you know obviously in person networking, and then and that goes back to where I said, we get around five people that those some of those five people own property, they own different things, and when we can get around those people, then that will help us get that commercial work.
Yeah. All right. Good to know.
So does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to, like I said, I've been messing around with LinkedIn, and I've connected with a few people. Not even business things, but just kind of reached out and posted a couple pictures. Reached out to a couple real estate agents or property managers and things like that. So I can definitely see how it can be beneficial for the commercial side.
And the the real estates and that kind of stuff, and and some things that you can do for that is when they post a house, oh, that house looks so pretty, blah 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 blah. That would be a
Right,
great
right,
house, that kind of stuff. You're just fluffing some feathers is all you're doing at the end of the day.
right, right. Yeah, I actually this morning I did a lady's house, a real estate agent, and I haven't had much luck with real estate agents, but she at when I was finished, she said great job, and she said she's a part of a real estate company, and any houses that needed to get done, she'll let me know. But we'll see how it works out.
Have you been working on your 5-star reviews?
Yes. I was talking to my wife yesterday. I have to send out a lot more messages from probably the last 20 customers that I had. I haven't reached out to them yet, but I need to.
And that's something that you need to do pretty recently, pretty. And one thing, you should be able to do it under customer factor too, of when you close the job, it will automatically send that customer a review link.
Mm,
So you can,
okay.
since you use customer factor, I'm almost positive you can send a review, you can do a follow up email series of sending, on this day, second day, 2 weeks out, and that way it automatically send that email out to them to say, hey, if we did a good job,
Okay.
blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Okay. I need to get on that because I usually do it just me. I'll send out my little text or email asking for a review. So that's something I definitely need to get on.
Yeah, that's something that I would look at, because especially as the busier you get and then you forget to give those emails out. That's not good, because our
Yeah.
goal is to get those reviews. Because how many reviews do you have so far?
I think 45.
So we need to get to 100 this year would be my goal for you. So to get that,
Okay.
we got to get that asking them reviews, because what you'll find out once you start asking those reviews, yeah. So somebody put yes, it does do that on Customer Factor. I knew it. I was pretty sure
Okay.
it did, but yeah, you can send out emails through Customer Factor, sending out that, and yes, Jobber does that too. So both of them will do that.
Okay.
But yes, so that's something that is important. That's, Customer Factor will send out quite a few emails, even on the follow ups. If you haven't been following up, you can do it through both of those.
Okay.
So them are some things that, you know, it's one of those things that it's all the little things. Bobby Walker talks
Mm-hmm.
about it. A couple other people. It's all the little things. All these little things add up, and And I know a lot of time it seems overwhelming. It seems a lot, but it's just what you got to do. And don't think that you got to do it all right up front. Just brick by brick. That's how you build a great wall.
Yep. Absolutely.
Always send them a direct link asking for a review. Yep. And that's
Yeah.
and
I,
even if you text them, even after you got done with the job and just texted that review, put it in your notes that, hey, here's this review link. And then that way, as soon as that job's done, you text it and, hey, I'm a small
mhm.
business. Please, this will help me grow my business. Please give me a review about how well I did and stuff.
Yeah, I've used the direct link for Google. You try to make it as easy as possible for the customer, so they just click the link, and then they just type what they gotta say, and that's it. So that's helped me.
Yep, and it's like he says here, Wild Wild West. Automate, automate, automate. Because the more we can automate, the better off we can get the more small things that we got to do.
Yeah,
Um, so our goal is 100 grand. If we hit it, we're gonna come back on, right? What if we hit it?
absolutely, one
What
hundred
if we
percent.
hit it in like August?
I'll be back in August.
uh,
That's the plan, though, Jason. Honestly, I feel good, man, and it started off in March, and watching your videos and then coming to your class, it really is really helping me. Like I said, I think we talked about it a little bit. I have my routine. I get up really early. I figured that's really changed my mindset, and watching the motivational videos and staying positive and doing, like you just said, the little things, posting, doing these things daily has really changed, my business and how I look at everything. So, I really appreciate you and your classes.
Tanner said, I believe in him. Tell him, said, what up, Jason? uh, so Tanner came to Kentucky the other day. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, he bought that rig that I had as
Oh,
a
okay. Good stuff.
training rig. So he came down. Never backed a trailer in his life. So I had to teach him how to back up out in my driveway. So
Is it what size is it?
it was a 12-foot enclosed trailer.
Oh, nice, nice. I know you have fun with that.
Yeah. So I had to teach him how to back up. So, um, But he did all right. He got it home and backed it in the driveway first try, he said. So that's good. So
Oh, okay. Hey, that's good. That's good.
that's a start, right?
Yeah, I know. First time I had a trailer, man, I was in front of my house about 20 minutes. I know my neighbors was looking at me like I was crazy.
Doing a big old S back there.
Yep.
Jackknifing it. But he's lying, he put. I'm not lying either. But all righty, well, we're at 50 minutes. Any last words of if you were brand new, what would you do?
First I would buy Jason's class. That's number one. I think the most important thing for anybody that's just starting is understand there's going to be bumps in the road. You know, it's a learning curve, it's a process. But with classes like Jason's and just getting on YouTube and looking up as many videos as you can avoid some of those pitfalls that I think we've all suffered. I know when I first started, man, I wish I would have took your class or had something to kind of help me because I went through hell and back my first couple years. But if I would have had a class like yours or just had access to something where I can just learn the beginning steps, it would have helped me come a long way my first 2 or 3 years.
Awesome, awesome. Education is probably the number one thing that I will always promote. I know I get a
Hmm.
lot of hate of, well, you cost money, that kind of thing. You know what? You're right. I've got everything out on YouTube pretty much. It's just here, there, and everywhere. If you
Yep.
are that type of person, but you know what I've always learned is when I open my wallet, I usually open my brain. And that
Yep.
is so true at the end of the day. I open my wallet, I open my brain. And
Yeah.
I still do it. I don't just tell people this. I practice what I preach. I still buy class. I mean, I just bought a class that's a conference that I put into my group, and I let them know about the conference because I
Hmm.
agree on it. I believe in it. It's called Ed World. It talks about how to do that, and I'm not just talking about, just going to pressure washing stuff or going to that, if you're bad at something, go buy a course, go buy a class, go buy something, go buy a book,
Hmm.
if you suck at sales, go buy some sales books, go learn how to do sales better, go how to learn how to do sales. If you suck at marketing and can't get marketing, go find out about marketing. You know,
Yep.
and you don't have to learn everything. At least learn enough so you don't get screwed. You know,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
otherwise
Yep.
you're going to go the hard way. You're going to learn the hard way of you paid a lot of money and then you get screwed, and that is
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah, yep. And I was one of those guys where honestly, my first couple years, I gave it up. I said, man, I can't do this. It's not worth it. But I didn't know the business. I didn't know the equipment. So every job I went to, something went wrong, a hose burst or something happened and my gun jammed. I'm like, man, it's power washing stuff. It don't work. So, but once you continue to grow and you continue to do it, do what we do and do it consistently, you start learning, okay, well, it's not so much the machine, it's the user or whatever. So being more prepared, taking classes, just being, with a business, any business, you got to have your backups, you got to have everything you need and make sure if this goes wrong, I'm gonna do this. If that goes wrong, I'm gonna do this. So things like that, man, they're priceless.
Yep, that's right. And that's why I preach what I do of you can do it. At the end of the day, you can do it. There's nothing special about Terry. There's nothing special about me. There's nothing special about
Nope.
any one of these on this live here tonight. You can do it. And I think that's
Hmm.
something that is hard for a lot of people to understand is you can do it. Is it hard sometimes? Yes. But as my wife always tells my kids, you can do hard things.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
on that note, I hope you all have a great night this week. should be this week. The weather's not that great here. It's only going to be in the 60s. So
Mm,
it's going to be probably one of those weeks of it wasn't very nice today either. It was nice yesterday, so hopefully people were out mowing grass and hopefully people were out looking at their house. So hopefully on Monday and Tuesday your phone will be ringing. So until then, we'll
there
see
you go.
y'all later. Hang on, Terry, and I'll talk at you after we get off.